Call the Owatonna City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, April 15th. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rainey.
Here.
Svenby.
Here.
Trulson.
Here.
Dodson.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Abraham.
Here.
Mayor Kuntz.
Here.
We have all 7 of the council and the mayor present.
Thank you. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
About 9 o'clock tomorrow morning,
welcome everyone here tonight in this wonderful day in history called Tax Day. And with that, we have an updated agenda with an additional resolution 513. Look for a motion to approve with that addition.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Greg, second by Brent. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now we move on to the next item, and I understand the mayor has a proclamation he would like to do.
I do. On April 24th, we will have On the Move Walk Across America Day, and we will do that down at the Owatonna Clinic at 5:30. But the proclamation reads, whereas Mayo Clinic Health Systems in partnership with Alina Health, Learning Zone Express, Owatonna Chamber of Commerce, Owatonna Park and Rec, Steele County Public Health, Steele and Rice County 9/11 Center, Wanger Corporation, and area schools are sponsoring this year's 2014 On the Move Walk Across America program. And whereas walking benefits ourselves, our family, our workplace, and our community. And whereas a brisk half-hour walk 5 or more days a week can reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, osteoporosis, arthritis, and some cancers. And walking is an entry-level form of exercise which everyone is capable of doing. And whereas this year's program kicks off April 21st and ends Thursday, May 22nd, report your steps each Monday by calling 507-446-5121 or email them to onthemove@mail.ed. Now, therefore, I, Thomas A. Kuntz, Mayor of the great city of Owatonna, hereby proclaim April 21st, 2014 as On the Move Walk Across America Day and encourage all of our citizens of the city of Owatonna and Steele County to join the community in walking daily and recording your steps, which promotes wellness within the great Steele County area. Signed, Thomas A. Kuntz.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to public hearings, and the first one we have is a modification of development district and establish tax increment financing. We'll go to Troy.
Tax increment financing is being pursued for a possible addition on the Daikin applied at 1001 21st Avenue Northwest in the Industrial Park. The project would consist of a 122,000 square foot addition that would add 40 new jobs. The request is for establishing the tax increment financing district for up to 9 years. The total increment generated from the project is estimated to be just over $2 million with a present day value of about $1.46 million. This would be a pay-as-you-go TIF with the property owner upfronting the cost for the eligible improvements on the property and being reimbursed after taxes are paid each year. There is also a resolution to submit an application to the Job Creation Fund on behalf of Daikin. The Job Creation Fund is a tax incentive for businesses that create new jobs with the funds coming from the state and not the city. And this is a newly created program that started at the first of the year. The amount of property taxes currently paid on the property would continue to be received by the city. Only the tax increment from the added value of the new construction on the site would be used for the project. The city does contract with Advanced Resources, which help the city comply with the laws using tax increment financing and writing the TIF plan. And consulting fees would be paid by the EDA out of their consulting budget and would be reimbursed by TIF over the length of the project, or the length of the TIF district. So staff would recommend adoption of the attached resolution approving the development district modification and the Tax Increment Financing District 3-8, and the resolution to submit application for the Job Creation Fund on behalf of Daikin Applied. And we do have Ed Sheeta here with Advanced Resources, our consultant here, to answer any questions, as well as representatives from Daikin as well.
Thank you. Ed?
Good evening. It's always, Troy's gotten really good at covering it, so I don't have much to add to that. I think this project is going to have a couple other components eventually that will come before the city. Tomorrow afternoon I'll be to the EDA. We've been to the state a number of times on those Minnesota investment funds, and so the council cannot actually be the applicant, so they are applying for an investment fund, which is a state participation. And and then, as I said, the Job Creation Fund, which is a new program that the state, and I think harken back a little bit to when we were working with Viricon, I think the mayor had mentioned that the state had kind of stepped away from economic development to some extent, so they've made a pretty big statement in the assisting this particular project. A tax increment, again, this is a pay-as-you-go, and in essence that's pay for performance. They need to build the building and create the jobs, and that's the same with the, as Troy alluded to, the Job Creation Fund, which is a separate resolution. It's a resolution of support, but that also is a pay for performance type of thing. They receive their awards in that they're 7.5% rebate of their capital costs, and in this instance capital costs are pretty much the same thing as they are for tax increment. It's real property improvements. It's not buying land or anything. It's actually the construction costs, so they get a 7.5% rebate on that, and I think that's the state's way of saying they can't do state tax increment financing. They've always wanted to do it with industrial projects, and if you look at that, they're rebating back some of that money related to the construction, so it has that sort of an element. Then they also add to that an annual, for 7 years, the company can collect up to a total of $500,000 and for the job creation. And again, based on the actual jobs created, they can get up to $1,000 per year per job, $2,000 for jobs that pay higher, and then finally $3,000 in the highest category. They generally, their jobs kind of average out in that middle category, which is $26,000 to $36,000. The jobs must be full-time. They don't have this full-time equivalent. They have to be new full-time jobs. So that's just a few more little embellishments to what Troy had. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
With that, I'll open it up for the public hearing, and then if there's questions, have you answer them then. So at this time, at 7:07, I will open it up to public hearing. So anyone in the audience wishing to be heard, please come to the mic and sign in and ask your questions or make comments. Seeing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Raymond to close the public hearing. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now this is open to the council to question. The questions from the council. Seeing none, we'll move to the first one, which is the resolution 2014 approved modification and TIF. What is the council's wishes?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate Dotson to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now a motion to the next one is Resolution 2114, support document application for Minnesota Jobs Creation Fund, and look for a motion for that.
So moved.
We have a motion by Raymond to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now we do have a new one, 1.5.1.3, which is Resolution 2313, which is a support Johnston's application. Do we want to address that individually?
Yes, that will be separate from the Daikins. So this, we have been talking with Johnston's. They are doing some things internally that would add some jobs here in Owatonna within their existing facilities. And so with the creation of this new Minnesota Job Creation Fund at the beginning of the year, this is a program that fits well for what they're doing. So with the timelines on the program, it was one that we wanted to hit the public hearing that they have at the state. With this program, there is a public hearing at the state. They do it once a month. And with Justin's schedule, we did want to get this on the agenda here to get a resolution in support of an application for the Minnesota Job Creation Fund on behalf of Jostens as well. So staff would recommend approval of the resolution of support to submit an application to the Minnesota Job Creation Fund on behalf of Jostens as well.
Okay.
So move it.
No, we need to open this up for public hearing. So at 7:11, I will open up for public hearing.
Actually, this does not require a public hearing.
Oh, okay.
The public hearing, tax recommended financing requires a public hearing. These resolutions for the Minnesota Job Creation Fund do not require a public hearing. It's a resolution of support.
Thank you. Then I'll go to Raymond
I'll move
for approval. Okay, we have a motion by Raymond, and this is 23-14, not 23-13 as written on the agenda. So it would be for approval of 23-14. We have a second, or a motion by Raymond. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Okay, Raymond.
When they're saying 100 jobs, Troy, is that in 1 year? Or is there a time limit on that? Where's that come in at?
Under the program, they have 2 years to add jobs, and so they will be doing a number of things internally to create those jobs over that 2-year period.
How is that reported? So we say, yeah, we did 100 jobs.
It's, as Ed had stated, it's a pay for performance, so they have to show that they have created those jobs in order to get the rebate back to them.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I've just got one question.
Yep.
On here, Troy, it says, whereas the city supports VPT's facilities expansion. What is VPT's?
No. That's where that's been changed.
Yeah, that should be Jostens.
It was in for BPT in the original packet, but then with BPT, they're not processing or onto that.
Okay.
I laid you a new resolution on your desk, the Jostens one, which is actually the Jostens ones that will be into place, yes.
Okay, that's what
And was it still in there?
Yes.
I'll get it changed.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? This has been approved. Now we will move on to 1.5.2, non-compliance of the cable television franchise agreement, and we'll go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. We have recently received some additional audit information as we had previously requested. We would like the council to continue this hearing to our next regular meeting to allow our auditor to review this information and also allow the parties to work towards a settlement.
So you're recommending we table it till our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Raymond.
Got a question. How long did they have to reply till we got it? How long did they have that notice till they replied to us?
Oh, it was probably a week or so.
A week or so. Okay.
So once we gave them the notice of this meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd make a motion we extend this to the next meeting.
You have a motion by Greg to table till the next meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been tabled till the next meeting. Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the financial report.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
You could continue it to the next meeting. We've got some people that have shown up to comment.
Okay. I'm going to have to ask.
Does this mean it wasn't on the agenda so we can comment in public comment? Since you tabled it, move it off the agenda, we can comment in public.
I will let you comment at public comment. Yes. Because once it's a motion table, we can't discuss. So, and that basically.
Hearings continue from one meeting to the other. You just did it in the last 30 days. So
Yep.
you're could have opened the hearing and continued. That's why you tabled it. We'll talk about it.
We gave them, our attorney, the opportunity to study what the offer was, and then we waiting for his response right now. So rather than discuss it, we waited for him to give us the answer. So I'll let you comment at the public comment. So with that, we'll move on to financial report, and now we'll ask Greg to read it.
I'll read the recap of the financial report of checks of over $20,000. The first one is $29,992 to Owatonna Ford. That consists of $28,395 for Ford F-150 and $1,597 for miscellaneous repairs and parts. $50,125 to Yamaha Golf and Utility for 15 golf carts. $106,564 to the Southeast Service Cooperative, that is April health insurance premiums, and other expenditures of $211,896 for a subtotal of $398,578. To that, we add the Section 8 payments of $64,510 for total expenditures of $463,089.
Thank you. Any questions about the financial report? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Kevin to pay the bills. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Financial report has been approved. Now we move on to the consent agenda items, which are all a number of motions, minutes, permit requests, grant built into one motion. And what is the council's wishes there?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Brent to approve the consent agenda items. Any question? Second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further comment? Raymond?
Just got a couple questions. Under the tree removal or permit system is up March 31st, and now we have just too late coming in. I guess the question I got, how can they legally operate in that period when they don't have a license? Like Carr, they're doing the utilities, and I'm sure they were working. Their permit was up March 31st, and they know the limits. And I guess I get a little disturbed when people just kind of take us for granted on some of that. And I'm just saying they were operating after March 31st till now, and their permit, they had no permit. So I'm just saying sometime we might think about a penalty or something, because don't take me for granted. Don't take us for granted. You know what I mean? And they know. And every year it seems like we get a lot of slower and slower. And if they're going to apply, they're going to apply. So.
Do it on time.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
The other question I got is on the T-hanger contract. When's the last time we reviewed the rate on T-hangers?
Actually, we will do that as part of our business planning that we're doing now. We had talked about that probably 6 months ago, and decided to keep everything the way it was, just because we have a number of them still open and available.
Sure.
But that'll be part of our business planning process that we're going through now.
Do we include the utilities, electrical part of the T-hanger rent? Do we furnish the city, furnish utilities? Do we pay the electricity for those buildings?
No, we're not in OPU's territory out at the airport.
No, I know that, but do we pick up the tab for that?
It's part of the rent.
Part of the rent, so it's included in the rent then.
Correct.
But as we look at that, we should look at the utilities part of that too. Then.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
In the packet or in the consent agenda items was a letter from the Owatonna Police Department on a compliance check with tobacco for this last check, and we had 100% compliance, which I think is wonderful to find that the businesses in Owatonna are really looking at this and very carefully making sure that nobody violates that. So thank the ones that do that, and the police for making it 100, and the businesses for making it 100%. With that, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. We'll move on to, let's see, I'll get up here to contracts and agreement, and we got 3.2.1 cooperative agreement with Steele County, and that will go to Chris.
No, Kyle.
Kyle, okay.
Good evening. This is an agreement between the City of Owatonna and Steele County. Steele County is going to be reconstructing Dane Road in the area of Woodlawn. We have some sanitary sewer that's failing in Woodlawn that we would like to replace as part of this project. So the agreement is basically stipulates how that will happen. So we estimate the cost of the sewer improvement around $25,000, and then there will also be about $150,000 in roadway construction that the city will be responsible for. And that's not directly related to the sewer. We would have been responsible for that regardless of the sewer project or not.
Thank you, Kyle. Questions from the council? Kevin?
Kyle, how old is this service that we're replacing out there?
I believe it's right at 20 years. The service or the surface?
The sewer that we're replacing.
It's about 20 years old. There was an installation. There was a sag in the line, so it's holding water. We're replacing about 250 feet of sewer.
Okay. Any other questions?
So move we approve.
Motion by Raymond to approve. Do we have a second of that?
Second.
Go with Nate. Second by Nate. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Next item is a first reading of proposed ordinance 3.214, accessory structures. And with that, we'll go to Troy.
Okay, this is an ordinance that's been discussed at Planning Commission for a while. It originally, what the proposed ordinance would change the setback for accessory structures in the rear yard from 3 feet from the property lines to 5 feet. And it originally started out, the discussion was to address some of the drainage issues that we have in neighborhoods and how water flows between houses and how to direct that to catch basins. And typically when we have utility easements, they're typically a 5-foot utility easement that runs along back and side property lines. Now, our ordinance now allows for accessory structures to be placed 3 feet off the property line and can be placed in a utility easement if they're on skids, movable, and they're anchored down and they get permission from public utilities in the city. So when you have 3 feet, we were running into some situations where sheds were impeding on drainage ways between properties. Our ordinance now requires a 5-foot side yard setback in the side yard and a 3-foot setback in the rear yard. And the side yard is determined by where the front and the back building lines are. So when you're up against the side property line, but you're behind the back of the house, that means you're in the rear yard, you can be 3 feet. If it's 2 feet in moved forward, it's in the side yard, it was 5 feet. So there was many times confusion with property owners as to whether they had the 3 or 5 feet. Also, when you get to where you're at 3 feet, you run into some fire code issues when you're within 3 feet as well. When we checked at what other cities have, and you have the list in there of our survey sample there, the bulk of communities have the 5-foot setback both in the side and rear yard. There are a few communities, Albert Lee and Mankato, that have 3 feet. So this discussion's gone on for a while. It does address some things. It keeps some consistency. It does allow more room for drainage to be handled along the property lines. But the downside of it is it does limit some of the use of your backyard, moving it from 3 feet to 5 feet. And so, and I, like anyone else, don't want to impede more on the property owners than we need to. So we did not have a consensus at the Planning Commission. It was a 5-2 split vote on that. So as you can tell, I mean, when you talk about all the issues is involved in this, you know, it does bring up a lot of different issues, and it's not necessarily a very obvious solution to move it from 5 to 3. But it was to handle a lot of the things that we're dealing with right now with these sheds. So it did go to Planning Commission. We had a public hearing. There was no one that appeared there. There were some phone calls beforehand addressing some of those property rights issues that this does impede on a bit. But it was approved it was recommended approval from the Planning Commission to the City Council, and that's why we're presenting it this time. Now, we have not had those discussions with the City Council to the depth that we've had at the Planning Commission. And I know there might be some questions from the Planning Commission there as well. And depending on the feedback, could be something that we could bring in a council study session if you want to have more discussion about that. We're bringing it forward because it was recommended by the Planning Commission to move forward. And it's up to you guys to handle it, how you want to handle it from this point on.
Thank you. Raymond.
How long have we been 3 foot, Troy?
We have been 3 foot for quite a long time.
Yeah, was it 5 and we went to 3?
You know, I would say it's been at least 20 years at 3 feet. So I'm not exactly sure if it was 5 before and moved to 3. It may have always been 3. We'd have to do some checking on that.
Is the Planning Commission agenda sent out electronically?
Yes.
Sometimes it'd be comfortable seeing that, what's going on there. If a guy wanted to come and just share an idea or two, I guess sometimes you feel a little missing there a little bit once in a while, and of the Planning Commission, you know, that would be nice to go if I knew it was on the agenda, you know. So just a thought, I guess.
If we want the Planning Commission agenda send out to the council,
just a review and what's coming up.
Certainly can do that.
Sometimes we get those calls, and it'd be nice to share that, and we don't know really what we're talking, you know, we don't know on our end really what the concern is.
True. You know. Yep. Well, that's certainly something we can do.
Okay. But I see the vote was 5-2 too, so it was, like you said, it wasn't consensus, you know. Okay. So.
Thank you. Greg.
I appreciate the work the Planning Commission's done on this. I know they've been discussing it for a long time, it sounds like. Unfortunately, we just found out about it a couple days ago, and I don't know that I'm prepared to make a decision on it. There's, like you say, there's a lot of questions, and even the Planning Commission didn't agree. I think it'd be prudent for us to have a study session about it.
Okay, so what you're recommending is that we table it?
Yes.
For until the next meeting?
Well, till we can arrange a study session and discuss it.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, you made a motion to table. You got a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So what we will do is we will table it until we can set up a study session, Chris.
Sure.
Maybe with the Planning Commission, Troy.
What's that?
Maybe us and them together, maybe to share thoughts.
Yeah, we would invite the Planning Commission as well as the council together for that.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 1914, polling sites for 2014 primary and general election. And then we'll go to...
So move we approve.
It's already been approved.
Oh.
We got to... No, the last one is approved. I'm just reading the next one.
Oh.
Next, we'll go to Chris.
Thank you. As you know, we adopt these resolutions each election season. 2 of our sites were previously used as polling sites are unavailable this time around, and new sites have been selected. Ward 3, Precinct 2 was located at the National Guard Armory, which will be closed this year for renovations. This precinct will be moved to the Emmanuel Lutheran Church at 750 Jeffrey Street. Ward 4, Precinct 2 had been located at the community building on the fairgrounds, and that's unavailable for the primary election since this coincides with the opening day of the Steele County Free Fair. So we will be moving that site to the Steele County Historical Center at 1700 Austin Road. Registered voters will be notified, have a mailed notice to their residents, and the estimated cost of that is about $550. Staff would recommend approval of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Questions from the council?
So move we approve.
Motion by Raymond to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? Kevin?
Chris, with that being the start of the fair, will there be some street parking allowed for access to get into that building to vote?
Yes, they already restrict fair parking in front of the History Center for their own patrons, so that shouldn't be a problem.
So it'll be
open.
Designated, yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you, Chris. Moving on to Resolution 2214, approve bids and award contract for wastewater treatment boiler, HVAC, and we'll go to Kyle with that.
Good evening. We received bids on April 8th. It actually says April 9th in my memo, but it was the 8th, for the boilers at the wastewater treatment plant. We received 6 bids. This was a first time using best value contracting. Best value contracting is permitted in Minnesota, but it allows us to include additional qualifications for the bidders. There was 6 bids. We are recommending DMC Plumbing of Pine Island, Minnesota. There was a lower bid, but there was information in the bid submittal that was missing, key information. So we are recommending that the bid go with DMC. The original engineer's estimate was $450,000, and the bids came in real good at $266,000 even. So we recommend award of the contract to DMC Plumbing of Pine Island.
Thank you, Kyle. Apparently there were 2 that didn't submit all the information necessary.
Correct. That was the high bidder also, and the red low.
So they got disqualified just because they didn't submit the proper.
All of the information was detailed out in the pre-bid meeting, and the pre-bid meeting was a mandatory meeting. So all of the bidders were there. We discussed what was required. So
thank you. Questions from the council?
Based upon the previous process for bidding, would they have satisfied the requirements?
The additional submittals and what is required in addition was some previous client rating forms, information about the staff that was being proposed. That's not normally required in our bids.
And so if had they applied last year for this project and we didn't use that process, they likely would have been awarded the bid. They would have fulfilled
I think that would be fair, yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that's not a local contractor doing the work. But.
Yep. Understand. So, questions? Any more questions? What is the council's wishes?
Just that major paperwork didn't get submitted. That was surprise.
Right, and there's in the specification there's points awarded to those different required submittals, and that was a higher point item that was missing.
What is the council's wishes?
I move approval of the suggested bidder.
Okay, we have a motion by Raymond to approve the recommended bidder.
Pine Island, Minnesota.
In Pine Island. We have a second to that.
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This has been approved. Moving on to 3.61, authorization to bid 2014 crack ceiling project. And again, Kyle.
as part of the additional maintenance work that we're proposing on the streets this year, we're proposing to do it's between about 11 miles of crack sealing. We're estimating the cost at $125,000, and we're looking for council approval to advertise for bids. And we recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Chair will entertain a motion. Raymond.
Kyle, is there a lot of bidders in that kind of work? Is there quite a few people in that kind of business?
I'm not real sure. We're aware of 3 or 4, and it's the first time we've done it, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, thank you.
We did try and get quotes, and the quotes came in at over 100,000. So we had to back up and go through the bid process. So we did get 3 quotes. So I'm pretty sure there's 3 out there, and I hope to have 1 local be eligible also.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Second by Raymond Schultzen. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now we move on to public comments, and with this we'll ask anyone to speak on something that's not on the agenda to come to the mic and sign in, and ask you to limit it to 2 minutes.
We don't usually have people fight over who gets to go first in public comment.
I'll soften them up for you. Roger Wasik, still at 646 East Vine. Got some comments. What should they earn? I see that the City Council is talking about pay increases for the hard work that they do. So I want to start with some notes that I made here. Start out with a City Council job description. And I'll paraphrase here because I don't have the official job description before me. I don't know if anybody else has looked at it. You attend meetings to decide how to spend other people's money. You get paid for attending meetings to decide how to spend other people's money. And then you call it public service. Okay, when I was running for county commissioner, I made the statement in a forum that I don't consider anything you get paid for to be public service. And I still stand by that. Since everyone here on the council that I know of has either a day job or is retired, why are we looking for more pay, particularly in this day and age of flatline economy? And the real question that comes out here is, I don't believe there's a performance appraisal for anybody on the council, so how do you evaluate what the council is doing their job, other than vote yourself a pay raise because I got to go to more meetings?
Election, Roger.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Elections is your job.
That's not really a performance appraisal. But anyway, I'll get it back onto something that's written in here, and to me it's kind of gobbledygook because it's talking about public employees in general, and there's no mention about performance appraisals or what the job is doing. It's just that a study completed for Steele County shows that its employees on average are earning less than other Minnesota counties of similar size and characteristics. I think we've been fairly systematic in making your pay decisions based either on your ability to pay or your current system or what have you, but we haven't been keeping pace with the market. I'm going to read that again because that means nothing. It makes no sense to me at all. I think you've been fairly systematic in making your pay decisions based on either your ability to pay or your current system or what have you, but we haven't been keeping pace with the market, Borglum said. In September 2013, Steele County hired Borglum to conduct a comprehensive classification and compensation study of all county positions to develop new salary ranges that would be fair, better aligned with the market, and meet the county's human resources needs and goals. No place in any of that do I see anything about how is this person performing in their job and their job description. But anyway, I'll leave it at that because I want to thank you for the opportunity to provide public service. And I'm actually considering what I'm doing here tonight public service because I'm not getting paid to be here. And then I'm going to jump back to something that the mayor said, and this is going to be completely switching gears here. The mayor had the proclamation for staying healthier. Did anyone else walk or take the bicycle tonight? The very proclamation does nothing unless we incorporate that into our mentality and lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Anyone else?
Les, I just want to point out just a couple of things. The increase that the council was considering is not for their own salaries. They're not voting. It's for future council.
You can't vote yourself a pay raise.
Right. Wouldn't take effect till after the next general election.
Paul Swenson, 818 South Street. To follow up on that, Chris, does it apply to a council member that didn't stand for election?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't really have an opinion on what you pay yourself. I think the way you get yourself out of the weeds is you just make it effective in 2021. Then everybody has stood for election before they get anything from it, and then I think you're safe. That isn't what I came to talk about tonight. I did come for the hearing that got postponed, and I appreciate Mr. Chairman letting me comment and say I can probably say more than I could have in the hearing. Chris, do you have a copy of this recent additional audit information?
I do not.
Who has it?
Our auditor.
The auditor has it, but I think earlier you said it was given to your attorney. Is there a copy anywhere in the city?
No.
Has anybody else here seen the additional audit information?
I have emails from our auditor who said that he has received some additional information.
So if I file a request, I can receive that information?
I don't think so.
Okay. The request will be filed. Secondly, and this is nothing new, I brought it up earlier, and I just wanted to reiterate, the franchising authority shall have published once each week for 2 successive weeks in the newspaper of general circulation in each municipality within the cable service territory a notice of intent to consider an application for a franchise other than a franchise renewal pursuant to the United States Code Title 47-546. This is Statute 238.081. Have we published yet?
Nope, we have not.
Okay. This doesn't say you work it out first. It says publish your intent. So all comers know you're interested in issuing other franchises. It means, and it goes on to spell out, you tell us what your deal is. It doesn't mean work it out as the article in the paper spelled out. We're working it out behind the scenes with Jaguar. It means publish your intent. Now, if I was Charter TV, I wouldn't take you seriously. You haven't published your intent under the law. That was point 2. Point 3, do we have an agreement for continuing service with Charter in the city?
No.
Section 12.8 of our current franchise agreement that expired in September says upon expiration or the lawful termination of this franchise, it's expired, correct?
Yes.
The city may request and grant, the grantee may agree to continue to operate the system for not more than 6 months after such termination.
We haven't officially terminated the agreement. So in effect, it has
lawfully terminated and expired in September. And we have no agreement for them to continue to operate. Do we have any proof that they're going to pay us any franchise fees from that date forward?
They have.
We've gotten a check from them for the time period since September?
Yes.
I'll ask for a copy of that then as well. But we don't have an agreement. And how much have we paid our consultant to not have an agreement?
I don't have that figure at the top of my head.
I'll request it. You know, one of the reasons that I think Charter doesn't really take the City of Owatonna seriously in their
in their desire to bring competition. We know the citizens want it. What we don't know is why our city government and our administration does not actively get the job done and bring the competition in. Is anybody from Charter here tonight? They didn't even show up for their own hearing that they didn't know was canceled. They're not taking us seriously. A good example of why they might not is I filed a complaint with the city in November of 2011. It was forwarded by the city to Charter on May 2nd, 2012. With everything I've gone through, Council, what I would suggest to you is that you should appoint a commission similar to the Public Utilities Commission and made up of interested people. It can be appointed by the mayor, of people that really care about having competition and getting the job accomplished. Because everything I have seen in the nearly 2 years since the public first sat here and said we want competition, every action I have seen or not seen in action taken by our administration indicates we don't want competition. We aren't following the laws that are spelled out in our state statute. We don't put complaints forward. We get down to saying you want to hear from the public, and then we show up and, oh, we're going to continue that because we've got more information. I don't want Charter to go away either, but you know, it's awfully hard to say to a company that overbilled its customers by $26,000 and underpaid us over 3 years by $8,000 and some dollars, and we had to spend $7,500 to find it out. You know, then to say we want you to stay in our community, if that's the type of company you're trying to search out to be competitive, I ask you to reconsider. But I would please, please ask you, put this in the hands of the citizens of this community who care. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Can I speak again?
Very shortly.
I just want to comment on that very thing. Performance appraisal, we're talking about, yeah, the citizens get the vote. I look at see here what the performance the council and the administration has been, and you want to vote yourself a pay raise?
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to council comments, and we'll start with Kevin.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the great events we had over the weekend. Thank the citizens of Owatonna for their strong support with the Bowl for Kids' Sake, the cake auction, and the St. Mary's auction. It really shows community spirit, and thank you for everyone that participated in those events. The other thing, people that are driving, please be aware there's more walkers. Make sure you're looking at intersections allowing people to walk across when they're out there. Thank you.
Brent.
Nothing further to add.
Raymond.
Just a couple things. Today I attended a session that put on by Public Health on the other cigarettes, the new ones, so you will be seeing some information coming. They had an hour president. I think you were all invited to come to that. That was interesting today. And just good luck to Pillsbury College on all their entities and everything like that. She attended, I know, 2 of the auctions this weekend, and so I'm glad to see somebody participating in the community.
Thank you. Nate.
I would just like to thank all the people that went out this weekend and helped all the great causes we had in town, and appreciate all the support the community gets from everyone here, and happy tax day.
Great.
I have nothing to add to that.
Dave.
Happy Easter on Sunday to everyone. Hope they can spend it with their family.
Thank you. Tom.
Nothing to add.
Chris.
Just a reminder about an opportunity for our mayor and council, and actually any other board and commission member. We're going to have a great speaker at the Owatonna Arts Center on May 7th at 6:30. His name is Mark Shaletto. He's a motivational speaker, and you're all invited to attend, and at no cost. It's sponsored by the Southern Minnesota Recreation and Parks Association.
Thank you, Chris. Raymond.
Oh, and wait a minute.
Do we have appraisal meeting Monday night?
Yes, I was just going to say, thank you for that. We are going to have our annual Board of Equalization meeting where you can come and talk about the value of your property, and that will be held on Monday, April 21st at 7 p.m.
Thank you. With that, and I have nothing other than to wish everyone a happy Easter and find as many eggs as you can. So with that, look for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin.
Second.
Second by Brent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.